Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions Global, let's talk about the coming of the Final Fantasy IV collaboration. That's very exciting. And maybe most exciting is that they will be handing out Cecil to everybody. He is a free unit. You can't see me, but I'm doing air quotes because this game is designed so that it can cost more to level the character than to pull it. With the coming of EX jobs in JP, I think a lot of people are kind of hesitating at pulling and leveling these units, and I think they are right to do so. We don't know if these Final Fantasy IV units will get EX jobs, and if they do, we don't know when. I didn't watch the video like super closely, so I didn't see if they promised anything for these units in the future, but based on their history, I would not believe anything that they say anyway. So just judge it by what we know today, how these characters will function in Global today, and then also with looking at EX jobs coming down the line. For example, we just saw Final Fantasy XIV get delayed or cancelled, that second part of the collaboration, so just know that collaboration characters are risky to work on. Final Fantasy X, however, is the sure thing as far as knowing that they will get the EX jobs. So if you wanted to be safe, and you wanted to think in the long term, skip Final Fantasy IV for now, and then wait for the second coming of Final Fantasy IV when they get their EX jobs. If you want to get somebody from Final Fantasy IV, you can just stick to Cecil. You can just build him. You don't have to drop 10k or 20k or 60k or more trying to go for the other units. And if you insist on getting Rosa and or Kain, I definitely can't blame you. They are the best characters from the best Final Fantasy. But just know that they come with risk. Okay, but let's talk about the characters. We'll talk about Kain first. I'm going to talk about Cecil last, in case that's what you're wondering. But I actually don't have a lot to say about Kain. If you've seen any of my arena videos from the last 3-4 months, he's been in there fighting against me, unless I was hunting for magic parties. But you all know that he has good range, he has excellent damage, he has some survivability. He's probably the best attacker in the game. Even now in JP, maybe standing shoulder to shoulder with Super Stern. So yeah, I don't feel like I need to go into a ton of detail here. But Dark, main job Barron, Dragoon, sub-jobs Viking, and Paladin. Move 3, jump 4. That's excellent for the tower where there's lots of elevation stuff. Rated 9.9 on GameAid. Okay, Master Ability. Defense Piercing plus 20, Accuracy plus 10. Having the Defense Piercing on the Master Ability is great. It means you always have access to it. There are some other characters like Gorasuda that also have Defense Piercing, but it's like part of a TP skill that they use to buff themselves and then it wears off. So yeah, Kain being a limited unit, he'll have more access to the Defense Piercing. So that'll be great against like tanks and stuff with natural high defense. But looks like Pierce Resistance Break. Here I wanted to talk about this. This is a TP skill self-buff to raise the agility and defense, but it's called Huh, Makasete Oke. And then that Huh sound, it's very hard to translate. I've seen some weird things already on English sites. But it's kind of like a haughty, sort of like a laugh under your breath. It's showing that Kain is very sure of himself, maybe even a little cocky. He's not saying like "whoo" or something like that, so yeah. Alright, he's got some drain skills, he's got some jumps which will take time for him to go up and come down, but the AI should be fixed by now, so he's not hitting empty panels. And then here's the Dragoon sub-job. I don't really see people use this very much in PvP. People are usually using a Paladin. But he has a self-sacrifice type of support ability. Here's the Viking sub-job. Don't really see him use this. You can take advantage of launch. High rate of critical, but it's slash attack, so it won't benefit from any pierce attack vision cards. But nice support ability here, which will raise his HP and attack. That one maybe you always want to have on him. And then Paladin, this is what I see most on him in PvP. But Sentinel, sometimes he uses that for extra defense. But yeah, it's the courage self buff that makes him very tanky. I wouldn't say he's a bruiser quite, maybe semi-bruiser, and it's totally because of this ability. We've seen it go off many times in my arena fights against him. And then Attract Blade, this is maybe his best ranged attack, but it will raise his hate. Even though he's kind of a semi-bruiser, you really don't want him taking lots of hits, so I would turn that off as well. Okay, here are resistances. Nothing too special, a little bit weak to magic. And then Trustmaster, the Dragon Helm. This is okay. 3 turns self-buff will raise move, and then haste. That will fill the CT gauge faster. It's okay, but I wouldn't kill yourself just for the Trustmaster. But yeah, definitely get him to 99 if you want him for damage. He'll be very, very powerful. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say there. I think the people that want Kain already know why they want him. Okay, next, let's talk about Rosa. I love her so much in the original game. I remember playing it for the first time in, like, what, the early 90s or something? And she hit people with a bow, and I was like, oh, it's a white mage with a bow? That's so cool. And I always liked the love triangle, not really a love triangle, between Cecil and Rosa and Kain. I think it's more interesting, actually, than the love triangle between Arthur, Guinevere, and Lancelot. That's how highly I think of it. And it also contributes to how and why Kain is my favorite character of any Final Fantasy. But I also really like Rosa in the game here, War of the Visions. She's really fun to play because she can do a lot of different stuff. And then based on like sub-jobs and like ability on-off, and like different weapons that you give her, she can play differently, so she's a lot of fun to use. Perfect for a player like me that likes kind of offbeat characters that you can customize to play in different situations. I almost never see her in Arena. I don't know if she was a very popular character, either at release or since. But Ice Element, main job is the Barron White Mage, sub-jobs are White Mage again, and then Black Mage. Okay, but let's look at Barron White Mage, main job. First, this is Inori, Prayer. This is a single target heal. This will do a medium healing. And this is so good that if all you need is heal, I don't think you need to use the White Mage sub-job, but I really like this. She uses it a lot. Next, this is an AoE self-buff. This will give you immunity to Poison, Dark, Silence, Paralysis, and then Stop. I usually do not use this, but in certain PvE, this is very helpful. And then in some cases, Prevention can be more useful than like healing it after the fact, especially if she wants to give it to herself. Okay, next, this might be one of her defining attacks, Ice Arrow, something like that, but for 3 turns it will imperil ice, and then also do medium damage. She is not going to do a ton of damage with either her physical or her magic attacks, but being able to imperil ice is very nice. That will raise her own damage because they're all going to be based off of ice. But also, if you want to pair her with other ice attackers, then she could be like a nice like a 1-2 punch. A lot of people are talking about mono element teams. Still not super necessary even now in JP, but when that time comes, Rosa is going to be a top pick, I think, for ice teams. And like right now I use her a lot with Agrius, you could use her with Victora, Laswell, Gilgamesh, all kinds of guys. We'll be able to use her with Auron pretty soon too. And then here I could maybe recommend Cooley's Trustmaster, that ice element bow. That can raise the physical damage for her if you wanted to use her in that way, like if you're going against magic users or something. Okay, next up, this is a 100% hit attack. This will do big damage. This might be her most powerful physical attack, but also good against evade characters. And then Holy, this will be good also against evade characters and dark characters. Okay, here's the Barron White Mage sub-job. I almost never use this, and then even if I do equip it, she never uses it in auto battle anyway. But here's Silence Arrow. This can do silence, of course. This could be good against magic teams as well. And then Hail Shower. This is an AoE attack, but it does very little damage, and then also has very low priority in auto battle, so I don't think I would ever use this sub-job, actually. Okay, next here is a support ability, raise agility, and then also raise the attack of that ice arrow, so I equip this a lot, actually. And then here, this is a range +1, and then Man-Eater. This also can be good if you want to raise her damage output. Only against males, male slayer, I should say. And then here's a reaction ability, which I have on her almost all the time. This is Reflex, just like Archer, so she's pretty survivable as well. Okay, here's the White Mage sub-job. This has all the stuff that you're familiar with. Protect, Shell, Esuna, Cure, Curada, Cura, Curaga, Raise. She does not have full life, which is too bad. Also does not have Holy, but she has that anyway in her main job, so no problem. Support ability, Protection from Doom, and then a Regenerator, reaction ability. And then a Black Mage sub-job. This could be good if you maybe want to go against physical attackers that don't have good magic resistance. But Sleep, Aspil, Bio, Drain, Blizzard, Blizzara, Blizzaga. Great. No Flare, unfortunately. Okay, and then the support ability, Magic Up, and reaction ability, Magic Counter. That's fine. And then Limit Burst. This is the thing that most people are talking about her before release. But AoE buff will heal a lot of HP and then raise AP for characters other than herself. So, you know, we're always talking about the bells or the apron. This is another way to get AP for yourself. I've used Rosa a lot in PvP. I feel like the AP aspect of this limit break has never been a deciding factor, but the healing is nice. So if you were interested in her mainly for the limit break, I don't know, it's so-so. Okay, Master Ability, Magic and Spirit Up. Oh, another Trust Master that you could give her is Fina's Trust Master, Reincarnation. That has a chance to charm people, and that's a powerful ability. But the thing with Rosa, and also Fina actually, is that they have so many things that they can do that you have to turn off a whole bunch of stuff before they start using their regular attacks. So actually you're not going to get a lot of use out of Charm or Doom, like Rodera's Trust Master. So yeah, I would more likely go for either just a regular craftable bow or with Cooley's Ice Element bow. Okay, but here's Rosa's Trust Master. I didn't feel like this was worth pushing to 99, so my Rosa is sitting at 89, she's fine. This will give a 3-turn buff that will raise magic and attack. It's okay. And resistance is here. Yeah, nothing too surprising there. Actually, she could be a decent magic hunter because she does have the magic resistance, and then she has some physical attacks, so that might be something to consider. Especially if you're using Agrius, another character with nice magic resistance and then physical attacks. Okay, finally, let's talk about Cecil. I have a lot to say about him. And I'll say right here that I'm going to put everything I have in my free-to-play global account to get his shards. If I can get him to 89 within the time, that'll be great. But I think we have like a full month, so I could take all the lapis that they hand out, pump it into Cecil, possibly get him to 99. That would be pretty amazing. Alright, but Light Element, main job, Moon Paladin, sub-job, Soldier, and Monk. Alright, main job, Moon Paladin. I'll say up front, he is not a tank. He does not have any hate generation. But he has the resistances of a tank. We'll look at that later. And so he kind of reminds me of Thancred overall. And you might be thinking that I'm dissing Cecil by comparing him to Thancred. but you don't know Thancred like I know him. But they are both light/slash attackers, so they're great investments because there's a ton of content that they are good at. The thing about Cecil, though, is that he doesn't have slayers or penetration or defense breaks, so in some ways he'll be a little bit limited as far as how much damage he can do. But you could always give him stuff like the Odin Esper for Maneater, stuff like that. But the Exorcist's Vision card, which just came out in Global, might be good for him. You could either pair him with a Greatsword user, or you could just lose the bestowed ability and just use it on everybody. But yeah, that would greatly improve his damage against the right opponents. Okay, but anyway, TP skill, this will raise his defense and spirit, and also raise his resistance to spirit breaks. That's cool. Another TP skill. This is one of his controversial TP skills. I think it's controversial, at least. But it'll take away some of his HP, and then that will give another character like a physical barrier shield. This is maybe tempting to put on like more fragile units, but I think actually these skills work better for tanks. Just make your tanks even tankier. But the thing about Cecil is that he is kind of a bruiser already, so he doesn't need a tank to take away damage from him. And so really you're just taking away damage from yourself for a buff which I don't think is worth it. So if and when I get Cecil, I'm probably going to turn off these HP sacrifice barrier buff things and just use them as a straight bruiser and attacker. But yeah, try this on and off, when you get him. See which way you like him better. Okay, but here's a very short range attack, small damage, and then we'll raise own agility. That's cool. Here's another AP attack, short range. This will hit 2 times. That can make him nice for chains. And then has a chance for Don't Act. That is a very powerful status effect there. And here is a ranged attack, a little bit of AoE. Will break attack, so that's cool. Nice support ability. Also might be his most damaging of his main skills here. Okay, Moon Paladin sub skills. TP AoE buff for 3 turns will raise max HP and then heal that raised HP. Another TP skill. Again, takes away his own HP in order to give somebody a magic barrier. I don't know. Here's an AP attack. This is AoE, so this will hit everybody in there. I see him use this a lot in Arena. This one's pretty powerful. And medium damage. And then support ability, HP and defense up. That's pretty great for him. And then reaction ability, when he takes physical damage, he will mitigate some of that. Okay, Soldier Subjob, Hazard Form, that will raise HP, again sacrificing HP. You really might want to pair him with a healer. Let's see, Paralyzed Edge, Hard Slash, Hazard Break, that's nice, big damage there, nice AoE. Aspel Force to drain TP, Hazard Spin, I'm a fan of this, it comes in handy a lot actually, but that can hit everybody around him. And then he has a Self-Sacrifice. Lower his resistances, raise his attack. He has pretty good resistances to begin with, so this might be okay for him. And then a Counter Slash, reaction ability. And then Monk Subjob. This is interesting because it gives him another attack type. So even against people with high slash attack, this might come in handy. But he has this AoE kind of Esuna thing. And then Tameru, that's one of the, Store or something? It's maybe the best attack self-buff in the game. Only lasts 1 turn, though. He's got that ranged attack. He's got the 2-hit attack. That could also be good for chains. And then this is the piercing ranged attack. And then HP up. That could be good for him. Strike attack up. And then counter strike here. Okay, and then Limit Burst. A little bit of range, big damage. And has a chance to stun. That could be good. Okay, here are stats. That's good HP. Alright, then Master Ability. light attack up, 15. And that's nice. You know, there are certain things that I want from attackers, like slayers or penetration or whatever. Cecil does not have those, but at least he has the light attack here. So against characters without good light resistance, especially dark characters, he will be good. Okay, and then resistances. Slash and Pierce are very much in the positives. Projectile and Magic are in the negatives. So you could certainly build him in a Slash and or Pierce resistance team. I like to say that 15 is a good starting point to start building a penetration build. So you could use Iron Giant, you could use Death Machine if you had it. He doesn't have quite the resistances that like Thancred does. If you've seen some of my Thancred videos where I get him to like, 1 damage builds, that's a lot of fun. Cecil can kind of do that maybe with Slash and Pierce, but not so much the other ones. And then he equips just regular swords, so he has lots of options for Trustmasters. Maybe you could do a lot of different status effects with that. And then finally, let's look at his Trustmaster, which is pretty good. But accessory, looks like most people can equip it. That's pretty good HP for an accessory, 300. Adds critical and attack, that's cool, especially with the stat stacking, and a little bit of defense. And then a 3-turn buff for AoE. That'll raise the attack, magic, and brave. So yeah, I like this. This actually might be my favorite Trustmaster of the 3 Final Fantasy IV units. Okay, I think that'll do it for a rundown of the 3 characters. If you're going to pull for Kain or Rosa, good luck. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.